Hi, this is Dr. Annie Clark with the Pennsylvania Coalition of Public Charter Schools and our show, Growing Up Charter. My guest today is Antwoine Dorn, and he's here to tell us about his great program, Stick and Move. Mr. Dorn, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Antwoine Dorm. I'm from York, Pennsylvania, born and raised here. Um, just try to start a program trying to keep the kids off the streets and trying to give them an outlet. I also work for York City School District, where I work with kids with special needs, like autistic support, Down syndrome, behavior issues, emotional support, you name it.
Wow, that's amazing. How long ago did you start your program?
My program started back in 2009. I used to box myself, and where I used to box at, they didn't really gear towards children. Great program, Lincoln Way boxing, but it was more towards adults at the time, and just needed an outlet for the children, and just I always had a big heart when it came to children. I know what boxing has done for me, so I figured I might as well just use the same thing. Before I started boxing, I also was producing music. Um, Pretty much it was going somewhere, but it just still wasn't enough. It was I wanted to gear something more towards the kids. So I stopped the music completely right when I was at the point that I should have been at. But I just something was in my heart was saying give back to the community and give back to these kids. So I stopped music completely to start this program.
That's amazing. How many children have you had come through your program?
Now we're close to 1,800 since 2009.
It's just amazing. I had no idea that you had so many kids
Yeah.
come through the program. What have you seen?
Yes.
Can you share any transformational stories of any of the young people that
Uh,
come through?
Yes, there's so many stories. You name it. I just if you name a subject, I probably dealt with it. So we deal with a lot with violence. Where what I try to do is be more proactive. Try to catch them before they get into the streets and everything else. That's my goal. Because what I was trying to do, I was trying to save the world. When I was losing sleep, I was getting phone calls 3 o'clock in the morning because someone was in trouble or someone was shot and somebody wanted retaliation and things like that. And it was wearing tearing on my body. And some people, just don't want to be saved. So once I learned how to not try to save the world and just only save who wants to be saved, everything's flowing a lot better.
Mhm. That's
There's a lot of stress on myself and also, my staff and other people in the gym where we're just constantly losing people to these streets.
Let's talk about that a little bit. A lot of the people that will be watching this segment actually run charter schools. And can you talk a
Hmm.
little bit about maybe the stress that does go along with one leadership and then also trying to create programs for children?
Um, the main thing is like working for the school district. Nothing against people that works here; they're wonderful teachers, wonderful administration, staff, you name it. But the difference is they work and they go home. I work and I'm not clocked out. It's like 24/7. I'm constantly clocked in. It's just like my phone. Like just right now, I probably received just 2 or 3 texts already from the students. Like when they don't have fathers or male role models, like I become that. I'm on a lot of people's emergency contact lists and things like that. So there's other programs, not only just boxing, but there's other programs out there that's doing the same. I don't want to name anybody because I don't want to miss anybody, but there's a lot of other programs, a lot of other people that's out here doing similar that can understand. So some people have programs just to have it, but there's other people that's really invested into this where it's like it becomes your whole lifestyle. It has its pros and cons. Does take you away from your own family at times because you want to jump just to try to save somebody because they can be dead or in jail, or it's a lot of strain to it, but it's also at the same time rewarding. So it's a lot of pros and cons to it.
Leadership is exactly that. Lots of pros and cons
Yeah,
of it, that's for sure. So can you tell us
exactly.
what if a child came to your program, like how old are the children when they start in the program and how old are they when they exit the program?
So it's not just children we deal with. We're not only we use boxing as a vehicle, first off. So it's not all we do. We do personal training, self-confidence, you name it. There's a lot of other things that we do. We partner with other agencies and things like that. But we start at the age of 8, and that's due to USA Boxing's rules, due to them getting hit because boxing is a violent sport. but we can't start until the age of 8. But we are working on having a program for smaller kids that we could do outside of USA boxing guidelines. So such as like, just learning how just do different workouts and punching in the air instead of punching at each other and things like that. So we're trying to come up with a creative way to get these little kids involved because I probably get more phone calls about, hey, I got a 5-year old. Sometimes I get 2-year olds. Parents say, hey, I got a 2-year old. I'm like, I can't train them that young. They can't even follow directions. Boxing is very similar to the military. It's very structured, um, just repetitive. Sometimes can be very boring, just working on the same thing over and over and over. But you got to want it to be in it.
How have you seen that create discipline in our children, in our community? And does that transfer to other areas once they've learned that discipline?
It's crazy because I can get a phone call or inbox from any social media platform out of nowhere with a child that I haven't seen in years. Sometimes I may recognize them. Sometimes I'm like, hey, send me a picture when you're younger. I don't remember you. There's so many kids that pop in and out. But just to get that thank you, like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Suicide. Some people had no direction of where they're gonna go. I had one student, he graduated college. He was headed to the right path, but he just kind of was sitting around. And I told him, I said, what's the point of give me that degree? I would love to go to school, but I just don't got the time or the patience for it. Like, what are you doing with your degree? You want to go to law school, you're not doing nothing. So I forced him to get back into law school. And he graduates this year from law school. So just things like that, just giving them that extra push. So it doesn't always have to be about boxing. I get phone calls like with a female crying over a breakup. You never know. You're just that big brother, that father figure to them, regardless if they're still enrolled in your program or not. You still always just be on call and be ready for any conversation that comes.
How much do you find that you have both boys and girls entering the program? Do you have lots of girls who enter?
It seems like when the females enter, they enter all at the same time. I don't know if they have a little powwow and just say we're going to just flood the gym with females because it just happened. I went from 0 to maybe about 10 right now. So it just depends. When they see other females, it does uh make them more motivated. So I could just post a video with a female doing some little workouts or hitting the bag, and all of a sudden it's flooded with females. So at one point our gym was like really heavy with the females. Our females is we went to a few tournaments, went undefeated, got knockouts the first round. So our females are pretty tough. Females are actually probably more disciplined than the guys are and tougher. So I love working with the female students. They really take it serious because they got something to prove.
Wow, that's really it's very exciting to hear that that we have these young ladies in the community who are, doing great through this program, which is really awesome. Tell us some
Hmm.
about the young men that have come through the program. And you said a little bit earlier about sometimes they're looking for that father figure. What does that look like? Like, what are some of the conversations you have with young men beyond boxing?
There's times, and I'm not one to post and brag about my accomplishments or what feels good or what I have done. There's times that an incident might happen out in the streets, and I know that person's gonna want to retaliate or things like that. I grab them right away because I know that was their best friend or sibling or relative, and I'm there. I'm knocking on their door, like checking on them, and just like, hey, listen, I understand, but it's gonna be a repeated cycle. So there's many conversations that I done save people from retaliating and things like that. It's not just violence either, just even down to the grades. With me working for the district, every now and then I pull up the grades or I call the teacher and say, hey, what's going on? Or sometimes the teachers call me and say, such and such is acting up. All it takes is one phone call and they're completely different.
That's awesome. That's
So,
great when you have
mhm,
that coach that is involved with students. They really do make a big difference in the academics as well, that's for sure. When we think
yes.
about what's going on in our community, how does this vehicle of boxing help young people understand they can be in conflict and it doesn't have to end up in violence? How do you think this teaches them
So just any boxer, like what people don't realize, people look at boxing as a violent sport and it's not. It's basically like playing tag with your gloves on. And when you actually go to a boxing event, you realize it's really not that violent. We just associate it with fighting and people don't understand. So being that you know how to fight and you do it every day, you have nothing to prove. It's like, I really don't want to hurt you. Let me just walk away before I have to, really put my hands on you. Just like to have that confidence, just to know no matter what anybody says, you have nothing to prove. So it's like I have more children walking away from fights than getting into fights. I'm like, hey, if they don't put their hands on you and you can get away from it, just walk away. There's no reason to either engage in that. Or invite them to the gym, have them sign up. Have them sign a liability paper, get your frustrations out and shake hands and talk about it after. That has happened, but that's just the way to do it instead of it going on and making it worse where they end up turning around and acting violently.
Absolutely. There's a ton of research in that area that we try too much to avoid children having conflict. And for that reason, once they get in conflict, they don't know what to do. And so that's one of the reasons it escalates the way it does because they're in fear of flight. So, and I think any
Yeah.
program that helps them think through it and not be afraid is really beneficial to the kids.
Yes.
Where do you see your
Yeah.
program going? Like, what could, as people are watching this, how could they support your program, and what would you like to see it grow to in like 5 years?
Um, where I definitely see it going. If you asked me the same question a few years ago, I wouldn't be able to answer it because it just felt like we was just helping out. But now it seems like it's going to go towards where I can do this full time. That's my goal right now. I'm just trying to find insurance and things like that. Like I know I can do the personal training. I know I can do more programs to, make a living off of it. But my main thing is I don't do it for money. I receive not a penny. All the money, all the proceeds go straight into the gym. But I'm trying to get it down to the point that, I can get paid myself, but not necessarily through the children, but somehow some type of grant funding or whatever. That's my goal. That I'm able to do more. So just 2 hours a day for me is not enough. Where I can actually be more mobile. I can actually go into different schools because the unique thing about my program versus many others, I'm not just York City. I got them from all over. I probably got more suburban kids than anything, to be honest with you. So I got Dallastown, Dover, Red Line, West York, even people coming all the way from Baltimore. We get them from all over. So it's a very diverse group, as far as where they're located and also even race. I got a few Asian kids that came. I got a kid that's actually from Nigeria that's here from your college to be an engineer. So it's like we got such a diverse crowd. It's very unique and everybody just gets along and it fits in.
That's really beautiful to hear that. The kids coming from
Hmm.
different places and the diversity, and that in itself makes more connections when you get to be around people
Yeah.
that have different cultures and you get to learn why do people think the way they do and what makes them sustain or different, which is great to hear that.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to sign up for your program or one of our school leaders wanted to contact you, how could they do that?
We're at Bonnie Grimes Gym, weekdays 4 to 6. And then Saturday 9 to 11 in the morning. So just come during the gym hours and fill out the application. It's $65 a month. But again, we're limited space. Our space that we have now is smaller, which is a blessing because we had this huge space before, which was a good problem, but it was so crowded and it just wasn't as structured. So now I only take people that really is going to put in the work. So if you don't put in the work, it's kind of like trials for basketball. It's not about how much skills you have. If you can do this, you can do that. Just keep up and put your all into it. Other than that, I'm going to ask you to go. So I don't play with the grades, nothing under a C average. Like I'm really strict right from the gate. Like I have a lot of parents that sign their child up. And I'm like, okay, first thing I do is ask the kid, did you want to sign up? If you don't, like you're not gonna make it. I need you to want it. You have to be here. My son is being bullied in the Cincinnati. Are you tired of being bullied? If you're really tired of it, I got you. If you're not, and you're gonna, half do it, then there's nothing I can do for you. So you
Right.
have to be willing to put in the work. There's no reason to sugarcoat it, waste my time, your time, or anything like that. I can help you if you want to be helped. So I'm just straight to the point. It's like going into a lawyer's office. Hey, I got you. We're gonna beat this case, but you need to tell me the truth.
Mhm.
That's the same way that's how I deal with it.
When you would go out to a school, and let's say one of our schools wanted you to come out and do programming there, what would that look like in the school?
It depends. I'm not as flexible with time like I used to be. There's a lot of things that's busy, so I try to have people to come to me. So it's either down with the personal training. That's why it's such an important thing that I get this going where I can do it on my own, so I can be more flexible. Now, if it's something that's scheduled ahead of time, so say during a school day, I can actually call off work and use my hours and things like that. Just depends on the school and what the school wants. There's times that I went to other school districts. There's other basketball teams I helped out. All girls basketball team for Suburban. I helped out Dallastown. You name it, I've done it. Because just the conditioning, getting that mental toughness, and just when you're in a boxing ring, you're there by yourself. There's no teammates to pass it to. So you have to have that individual strength. And boxing's not just about strength. Like myself, I don't punch like Mike Tyson or anything, but my mind and my thinking is different. It's like playing chess. So that's what I try to teach my students: is just think before, see things before it happens, create opportunities, so they apply it in life as well. And then I also, one good thing, unique thing about my gym, I teach my kids how to teach. So if you're able to teach it, I know you're able to do it. So it's a big thing. Like all my kids, you have to learn how to teach. So there's a whole program of you being able to explain it, not my way, explain it your way, but just make sure that they understood the assignment.
That's awesome. It sounds like the students are getting just a wide range of skills and tools that otherwise they wouldn't have in the program.
Yes.
That's
And
pretty.
right now we're actually steering away from boxing a little bit here and there. So once a week we have other programs, gyms, you name it. So today we're playing soccer. Last week we played basketball. The week before that we did is like a tense cardio workout with the lady Jen that I know through Facebook, called Hit. We also doing yoga. So it's like we're trying to venture out just away from boxing to do other things. We get the tennis rackets out. We don't know what we're doing, but we're playing just to try to incorporate something different.
Well, exposure is everything. You don't have to necessarily
Yeah,
be an expert to give children exposure, and then the next thing you know, there's a phenom. The child's able to do it
yeah.
without necessarily being taught because it's just innate to them. It's just part of who they are. So, I think exposure is
Hmm.
the most important thing. And if you love something, and I think if you're willing to try things, especially as adults, if we try things we're not good at, that's a great example to give to a child. Like, hey, I can try things and not be good at it, but I still do it anyways.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that. This has just been
Thank
so
you.
interesting, this conversation about your program. And I hope that you would come and talk to me some more about it in the future because I know people are going to
Of
have more
course.
questions.
Yeah, anybody got any questions? I'm willing to answer, and anybody got a way to help out, I definitely could use it. We're looking for grant writers. We do have an accountant now. She's awesome. But we definitely need these grants and things like that. We're trying to get a van and things like that. Just that way we can travel to these different events because I try to keep my boxers busy. We got a lot of tournaments coming up and gas prices are high. Wear and tear in your car is very high. So we're a nonprofit, official of 501(c)(3). So tax write off anybody. So anyway we can get help, we're looking for it.
I appreciate that, and I hope that some of our schools will call you and partner with you. So thanks
Yeah,
for
that'd be great.
today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no problem. Anytime.